Here's one I haven't shot in forever. HK VP40. HK VP40 is long overdue. And that's saying it mildly for a range trip. So here we are, doing a take two. 40 Smith & Wesson. Magazines hold 13 rounds. I've got them all loaded to 10 so I can count them. I haven't shot this gun in, I want to say it's probably been at least a couple years. So let me remind myself what it's like to shoot this gun. Let's find out how well I can shoot it today. I've got a steel target downrange that is Tactical AR 500, my favorite target company. That target was provided to the channel by them. Now, that's a nice first 10 from any kind of gun. I will always talk to you and argue with you about what makes a gun good, and for me, at the end of the day, it's whether I can shoot it good, because I don't shoot everything particularly well. I am not some great shot. I'm not some great marksman or anything like that. If I'm putting a really nice group down range, it's because the gun is just conducive to my style of shooting. Simple as that. The HK VP9 and of course the HK VP40 are very conducive to my style of shooting. Shooting Freedom munitions, by the way. Freedom munitions ammo, 180 grain. Wow. You know, I remember saying at least saying it to a friend at the range a couple of years ago, and I may have said it to you a couple of years ago, but I don't know of any gun that handles the snappiness of the 40 Smith & Wesson round as well as this VP40 does. It is incredibly soft shooting. If you want to shoot 40 Smith & Wesson and have it feel like most guns that shoot 9mm, this is the one for you. Well, I'll tell you what, if I do my job and put that front sight where it belongs, this thing is just a shooter. You can just drill a hole in one spot all day long with this gun. Why don't I get this out more often and shoot it? Okay, let's see if I can shoot some groups on paper with it. I'm going to start out with some Herders. Herders Select, 180 grain. Everything I'm shooting today is 180 grain. And this is relatively hot stuff, actually. for what you would consider the sort of budget-minded range stuff. It's actually, I found it to be a pretty snappy round. So, herders, and I am 10 yards from that target. All right, I'm going to send 10 more down there. These are Freedom munitions. This is the stuff I started out with. Also 180 grain. Great sight picture on this gun. These are the glow in the darks, not the true night sights, but very nice sight picture. Good configuration. And of course we have our Rudolph the Red-Nosed chamber indicator on the back. Now just for fun, 10 hand loads, 10 of my personal hand loads. I load these soft-ish on purpose so as I can shoot them in matches, but I certainly hope they're accurate. This pistol just has such fantastic ergonomics. And just like the VP9, of course, exactly the same. Slightly bigger slide in the width department. Okay, and that's actually important, an important point. I talked about that when I first reviewed this gun. The slide is wider on the VP40 than it is on the VP9, to the point where if you have a custom fit holster for your VP9 and you wanted to add a VP40, it won't fit in your holster. So my advice has always been, if you want both, get the VP40 first, get your holster to fit it, because the VP9 will fit easily into that holster. H&K VPs, of course, have the European paddle release, magazine release, which I actually like. I like it quite a bit. It's funny, in just the past couple years, I've seen kind of the whole social media landscape in terms of the gun community go from just absolutely loving 40 Smith & Wesson, and if you didn't make your gun in 40 Smith & Wesson, everybody was mad, to 40 Smith & Wesson, oh my God, that is horrible, that's an extinct dinosaur round, who's still shooting that, it's horrible, and all that kind of stuff. All that just because the FBI switched over from 40 Smith & Wesson to 9mm. And certainly the FBI did a lot of diligent homework. They did a lot of studying, and they did a lot of ballistics tests and things like that. But at the end of the day, remember, you're talking about a bunch of white-collar bureaucrats who carry guns. Those are not necessarily gun guy people that you're talking about that are preferring this 9mm over the 40 Smith & Wesson. I think there's still a place in the world for 40 Smith & Wesson. I've been saying that. And there's still a lot of law enforcement agencies that are still carrying 40 Smith & Wesson duty pistols. It is, of course, a little bit harder on the equipment because there is a lot of pressure in a 40 Smith & Wesson round, which is why H&K beefed up the slide on the VP40 versus the VP9. So I don't know why I told you all that. I just find it an interesting topic of conversation about 40 Smith & Wesson. People have gone from absolutely loving it to just hating it so bad they can't stand the thought of it. I think it has its place. It's certainly not my favorite caliber, but I think it has its place, and I think it has a lot of nice attributes in a handgun caliber. But I'll tell you what, if you want to shoot 40 Smith & Wesson, I'm hard pressed right now to find a gun that I think shoots it better than the VP40. VP40 is a fully ambidextrous gun right out of the box. It of course has the European paddle magazine release, which makes it ambidextrous because that's on both sides of your trigger guard. It also has a slide stop and slide release lever on both sides of the slide and frame. The trigger is also ambidextrous, which is a nice touch. And of course the VPs have these little cocking ears on the back, which at first I kind of wanted to make fun of, but I actually like them quite a bit. They're very practical. The ergonomics are fantastic on this pistol. It's got a nice low bore axis. And it is just fun to shoot. And at the end of the day, if it's fun to shoot, and I shoot it well, it's a favorite. Okay, well this was just a take two, and take twos are supposed to be shorter videos, so I'm running out of time. Okay, so one last magazine and I'm out of here. Thanks for watching.